Hey, I'm Hasi and I build software for a living. I recently had a conversation with a UI UX designer and I was recommended to read Sprint, How to Solve Big Problems and Test New Ideas in Just 5 Days. And I really enjoyed reading the book. It is basically how a team or a company can get together, come up with as many ideas as they can to solve a problem that they're facing, narrow down to a specific idea, build a prototype, and test that prototype with real customers all in the span of 5 days. So it's a very ambitious thing, but it does lay out a great framework to go about how to do that. And even though I'm currently working on a team of one, there are many valuable lessons that I can take from it, and chances are that you can take from this book. And even though I'm working on a team of one now, I won't be working on a team of one forever. And one of my big takeaways that I've utilized is rapid software prototyping in Microsoft PowerPoint. And I thought I'd share with you one of the PowerPoint prototypes that I've done just so you can get an idea of how this works and how simple it really is. So I've recently become interested in AI. I was never one of the people who was in the AI bandwagon, but recently I've just decided to start playing with some of the commercial models, some of the generative AI models like ChatGPT and Gemini, and sending a prompt and getting some data back. And I also realized that there is huge potential in the idea of client-side machine learning models. And what that means is rather than making an API call to ChatGPT, you can basically have that machine learning model run on your browser or run off your device. And I think that idea really interests me because I've been using GPT not as a developer, but as a layperson to do very small tasks. And one of the things I do in my kind of outside of work is run a podcast. And in my podcast, I generally need to generate search terms. So I always go to ChatGPT and I say, here's the title of my podcast, here's the description. Can you generate me 500 unique search terms in a CSV format so I can put that into my hosting platform to help people find the episodes that I make? And so this is a really simple tool, at least I think it's simple, as a person who's naive about AI. But I thought, wouldn't it be great if I could have the same use case but go to two different services? If we could have one go to a commercial model like GPT or Gemini, and one go to something much simpler that's running on your browser, on your computer. And I think there's advantages for both the developers, which is me, because if you are developing software and you can have a very tailored model that sits on somebody's browser, then you can potentially have a static website that has artificial intelligence, machine learning embedded in it, and it can perform simple use cases for your customers, for your clients, for your users. And as a user, it means that you can potentially get access to a cheaper tier of services and also have something that works when the internet is off. Why? Because the model is running on your device. It's running on your browser. It's something that's been downloaded to your computer, and you don't need the internet to make an API call to a third-party service. So there's a lot of potential. Now we're looking at a kind of simple mock-up of a website, and you can see we've got a title, we've got some text, and we've got a button. And it's basically saying, we're going to give you a use case, and you're going to try and work out whether there's a difference between Gemini 1.0 or the client-side model that's running in the browser. So it's what I've just described. So let's go ahead and play. So what we're dealing with is what I described. We are going to generate a list of CSV search terms, and I've got the option to provide a title for my content and provide a description. So let's go ahead and do this. So what I want to do now is the name of the kind of content, or let's say I've got a podcast episode or an article, it's Animals on Our Earth Part 2. And the description for this content is, in this episode, we explore ocean animals. And as you can see, I can go ahead and click this button. All I've done is create a hyperlink to the next slide of my mockup. So it almost represents something that's interactive. And now we've got our results. So I've got result 1 and result 2. And I'm going to go ahead and pick result 2. Because I think in my description, I mentioned that I wanted ocean animals. And so I click option 2, and I'm going to be told I chose the client-side model, and other people, here are the results they chose. So you can kind of see the intention of the website, that somebody enters fundamentally the data which goes into a prompt. That prompt will go to two services. One will go to Gemini 1.0. The other one will go to a model that sits on their computer. and they will be given the option to choose. And when they do choose, then they will be shown how other people voted. And in this case, most people said they preferred the result from Gemini. So I thought that would be a really great, very simple idea for me to go ahead and build out. And it would be great to see what users think about this. And just to be clear, I did everything in PowerPoint. And let's take a look at this. So you can clearly see that I'm in Microsoft PowerPoint, and I've got slides, and I've generated links. So I can go ahead and click, and now I will go ahead and I'm kind of going through my website. And the way I've done this is I've actually used a PowerPoint template. Now, you can go ahead and buy these kind of PowerPoint UI kits. The one I'm using is called Keynotopia, so you can go to keynotopia.com. I'll put the link in the description. But technically, you could do something much simpler without ever having to use a UI kit. You can simply use the shapes that are available to you in Microsoft PowerPoint and build something basic that's interactive that is going to convey what your website or your app is going to do. So that is how you rapidly prototype something in Microsoft PowerPoint. I hope that was useful for you, and because I know it's been useful for me, it has given me something that's very clear, simple, and that I can share with other people.